how do you find a healthy balance in navigating relationships?
Say, being intentional about it, because we're all busy, right? We have families, kids, work, things like that. But just like being intentional, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, like on this day, and no matter what happens, like we're gonna be intentional about it, And I think, that definitely helps.
And I think it depends on, I'm sorry, what kind of relationship. It could be a husband-wife relationship. It could be your, parent-child relationship. Are we referring to, I kind of would like to know it's going to be, if it's, you're talking about. It doesn't specify. Okay. So we've been together 36 years. And one of the things that, and we are now empty nesters, we have we have no children at home. And one of the things that we always was very intentional where we wanted to make sure we still loved each other and knew each other once the kids did leave. So having a healthy balance is so very vital because you don't want to look up 20, 25 years later and you don't even know this person. Right. And so we had to make sure we spent time together without the kids. We would go places every 4 to 6 months. It would just be me and him going somewhere. And even when it was babies, so we had to make sure we were intentional with spending time with one another. And we kept that because I didn't want, our children to be gone. And as it is now, it's just us. And you look around and you don't even know that person. I've seen it so often in so many relationships that people really didn't even know each other after the children were gone because there was so much going on. You're doing this and you're doing that and you're growing and you're trying to build, something. And sometimes family or parents think, well, I'm putting all my time into a job for you. But really, you got to make sure that that child understand that relationship you're building. You're not just providing, you got to also provide, right. Yeah. Not just financially, you got to provide emotionally, spiritually, all of those things. So,
yeah, kind of to piggyback on what Reggie was saying, is being intentional and sometimes you have to sacrifice some things. Like a lot of people see I work out in the morning, but that's just because that time works for me. I'm able to get what I need to get done, and then I'm still to be able to be there for my family. We can still go to the park. We can still go, do the things that is necessary for the family to, move. And I don't want to just be at home, because sometimes you're at home, but you're not at home. The kids want to play, but you got your cell phone, you got film study, you got all these different things, but it's just being able to just break down some different things. And like I said, I always tell my kids at the school, like I'm just built different. Like people don't think the way I think. People don't, just move the way I move. But I think it's really a gift that God gave me that I'm able to just be able to
Discipline.
Yeah, be disciplined enough to make sure that everybody's getting fed. But sometimes I do so much I don't feed myself. So it's like I gotta have that time. But that's where the gym comes in, and I'm able to kind of get my mind right, get what I need to get done. So just being intentional and understanding that, hey, once you're born, like as a man, it's not about you anymore. Like you got to make sure that everybody eating, everybody is getting what they need. So.
All right. Anybody else? Before I go to the next?
Relationships. One thing that you have to keep in mind is your love languages. So, like, if my love language is quality time, like, my dad is my love language. So, if I have to get my quality time by watching a Tubi movie that I don't like, that's what I gotta do because that's gonna get my quality time. I can't really be picky because it's not about me. If I want, I probably would like to watch Disney movies. If my husband don't want to watch Disney movies all day, but he want to watch something else that I don't like, if that's how you get your quality time, sometimes you just gotta make sacrifices. You get your quality time, and then his quality time is right. Because baby, them movies, I be like, babe, what is? He love them. Love them. And then also, like, if your partner love language is touch, which my husband love language is touch, and I was not used to that. Like when we first got married, I used to get agitated, like, man, you stop touching me. But it's like that's. He likes what he like. You like what you like. Put it together. Sit on the TV. Sit on the couch. Eat your little popcorn. Watch a movie. Lean on. Look, he get his touch while I'm getting my movie. You just gotta do what you gotta do. And hey, that's what it is.
Can you trust someone without loving them? Vice versa. Can you love someone without trusting them?
I think that really depends on the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, because, I can love somebody and not trust them. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, people I go to church with, I love them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know you like that though. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something wrong with them, but I'm just not gonna open up to you and just tell you my whole life story because you go to church. But I love you though. So I just really think it depends on the relationship. Now, if you're talking about husband and wife, that's different. Right. That's different. I really believe that if the trust is not there, that's kind of difficult for me. I don't know about anybody else, but I think it's a little difficult to kind of navigate through that because that's important. That's important for a husband and wife. So.
Wow. I mean, how can you say, okay, trying to think, how can I marry a person if I don't love that person? And, they
might be in lust, they in love, and just like, you know what, I'll just kind of push to the side, and then it shows the head, and it's like, oh wow, like I missed all this because I was just so
Caught up in the lust.
Yeah. And the trust's gonna always keep you off balance because you'll be thinking someone doing something when it's totally innocent, and so now that person have to always justify where they're going, what they're doing, just because of perhaps your insecurities and different things like that. And so, with that lack of trust, I think you may have to look deeper inside your own self to figure out, hey, is this me or is it that person? So to me, it's difficult for me to love if I don't trust you, because I have to be able to trust you in order to love you.
Yeah, but I think we are creatures of patterns. So you showing me different things, like you said, off the muscle. I don't know, some people in here, but it's like, okay, I meet you, we got a good vibe, everything like that. That doesn't mean I'm gonna trust you, or the same thing, with the young lady that I'm talking to. So it's like over time, it's like, okay, the patterns, okay, I see this, I see that. But if it's starting to, I don't know about that one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of, well, I can't trust, like, I feel like Reggie could call me, he gonna get the same student, whether if it's 2005 or 2023, like, it's just gonna be that same person because I've earned the respect of, hey, this is what it is. He gonna show up on time. He gonna make sure he do his job. He gonna go home. You know what I'm saying? So I think we are just creatures of patterns, and showing that pattern.
Oh, it's me again.
It is possible to love someone and not trust them. It's challenging, but it is possible. It's all about you willing to build that trust. Sometimes you can get into a relationship with trust and something may happen to where you don't trust that person anymore. But because I love you so much, I'm willing to work on building that trust with you. So I would say you can love and not trust somebody. Y'all gonna hear me say this all night. It's all about experience. It's what you experience, and it's how you go about it. So now would I enter into a relationship and don't trust you? No. But if I'm telling you, I feel like marriage opened my eyes to a lot of things that I wasn't prepared for. A lot of things that I said before I was married, like, oh nah, I wouldn't put up with that, or that's a deal breaker. Once you marry, it's not just a deal breaker. It's not that easy, because marriage is of God. So you have to work towards it. So if you truly love somebody, you're gonna work towards that trust. Now, if it's just not there, then it's just not there.
What are some struggles in the relationship now that could be a problem later?
Like we already kind of hit on it, is like making sure that you have that time, like with your schedule and the kids. So like kids, they always demanding your time. Like, hey, I'm hungry. Like, which one of y'all finna get up? I feel like I always gotta get up. Gotta warm up some French toast. You got this, you got that. I'm doing the lunches. You got this. I mean, it's like, it could be like, or you just get into this routine where it's like, okay, you go to work, come home, make sure the kid's good, and then you don't have that time. It's like you living with a roommate. And you ain't really, asking them, on a level like, hey babe, like, is there anything I can work on? What do we need to be doing, so I can make sure that I'm a better version of myself for you? Like, am I giving you everything that you need? Because like you said, we can grow numb to the routine of just making sure the house is afloat, the bills are being paid, gas, groceries in there, but the love ain't there, so we got to make sure that that could be a problem.
I feel like some struggles now could be okay, so I still consider myself a newlywed. It's not really that new. I'm 7 years in. but I feel like coming into when I just got married, I wasn't big on expressing myself and, talking through things that bother me. And I didn't want to seem like I'm doing too much or nagging or anything of that sort. But it's very necessary, like, to get it all out there, what needs to be said. Because I don't want, just like you said, I don't want to grow old and we're just passing by each other, and I want to still have a connection and a relationship with you that is, I'm comfortable and I feel pleased at the end of the day. And I want, so I feel my main thing now is that I feel like it's very important to discuss the things that are necessary or that is very, like, really eating at you, because that's going to help you in the long run. And we're still new to this, so this is our time for us to really get to know each other and really talk about stuff we don't want to talk about, or it may be nagging or not even nagging, just you may not even feel like talking about stuff, or, you may just want to chill or come in and say, I feel like chilling today, but your wife want to talk. So let's talk. So it's a time. I feel like it's necessary now. I feel like, and maybe years from now we can get back to those chilling states, and there will be chill days also, but I just feel like it's very necessary to talk about things that not everyone may be comfortable with talking about at the time, but And if you're not comfortable, just say that, but we must revisit it. Like, so it's just a continuous thing so it doesn't lead to struggle down the line.
Yeah.
When you said nagging, I really want to clear this up with the men in the room. I really want to know what nagging is, because, and the reason why I'm asking, because I just had an incident.
Hearing your white voice.
Yeah, I'm be transparent. I just had an incident with my husband, and he triggered me, right? But I didn't feel like I was nagging. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was being who God created me to be, was the help. And so I would like to know from the men, what is nagging? Is it? Yeah, because I hold on. I just want to say this, because there's a difference between nagging and challenging.
Right.
There's a difference.
I don't see it as, like you said, nagging. I see it as a challenge, or you're expressing yourself, and that I have to take ownership of that. Like I don't know. I just feel like, again, I feel like I'm different. I'm in this relationship. I'll probably do the nagging on my earpiece, because hey, baby, I'm needy. I need this. I need, in order for me to go ahead and make sure that this is. That you get the best version. There's some things that I need, and there's things that you need. But it's like, I don't see it as nagging. It's just you're expressing yourself, and hey, okay, so sometimes if it's over and over, like they feel like, oh, it's nagging, but you're telling me this for a reason. Like, it's not just, oh, you're telling me this, and then it goes away telling me this. Like, you need consistency. Sometimes we lack consistency, and that's one of the biggest things. Yeah, the pattern. I mean, that's life. It's the pattern. It's the the consistency, the discipline to make sure that I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. So, to me, I don't see it as nagging. It's just you're just expressing yourself. I don't.
Nah, I definitely get what you're saying, because that definitely brings that gives me a perspective, because it shouldn't be considered nagging if it's something that you need to improve on. So like, for example, if I'm washing all the dishes, and like you point out this fork that got like a little bit of food on it, it's like I shouldn't see that as nagging. You know what I'm saying? Or if I leave the toilet seat up or something like that, I shouldn't see that as nagging. I would say sometimes I feel like it's nagging if I'm being consistently asked something where I feel like she may can't help me with. You feel what I'm saying? Like, for example, if I'm taking care, let's say, for example, if like I'm taking care of like all the bills, for example, and it's like you keep asking like, hey, what's the problem like with the finances or something like that? Like, that's something where like I still should be better with it, you know what I'm saying, as far as expressing like, hey, man, just, these last 2 weeks, we kind of on a tight budget right now. I should be able to express that. But sometimes I see it as like, why are you asking me about this? Like, I'm going to figure it out, you know what I'm saying? And I shouldn't always think like that, but that's kind of like my take on it.
Maybe another reaction, the other reaction you may get. So if it's like, hey, babe, yeah, if it's, dog, like, what's up with these bills? Wait a minute. Hey, now you can try. Wait a minute. Oh, it's like, oh, babe, I really appreciate, you taking the time, you paying the bills for us and everything. I just, I was just wondering if it was. Okay, babe. No problem, babe. I got you right here. No problem, babe. I got you. This is what's going on right here. Like, it's Christmas time, and it's a little tight, so we gonna have to eat some oodle noodles tonight. You know what I'm saying? We can't get the Red Lobster or whatever. So, like I said, it's all an approach and everything like that. Yeah. Delivery is everything.
I think that's good, because I feel like if the man is going to be as women, as wives, if he's leading, right, and he's doing what he's supposed to do, we do have to respect that.
Yes.
That's where the respect come in. If you say, babe, we really don't have it, so we're going to have to noodle it up, slice some chicken.
Yeah.
Okay, babe, let's do it.
Just for a little bit, we'll get back to it.
Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
you know, that's that respect, and that's respect to the man that's leading. You know, so I respect it.
Sorry, to piggyback off that, I think it just comes down to knowing your partner and like he said, the approach. Like I know and I had to learn that because he deals with a lot. I mean, he deals with death every day. So I'm very I like to talk things out, like, you know, I like to know what's going on, and a lot of times, like, he would be just a tad bit, like, snappy when he came in, so I had to learn, like, okay, I can't, like, bombard him with everything as soon as he walks through the door. So I know, like, usually his downtime is on the porch. He'll kind of, like, get his mind right, so I'll let him sit out there for a while, and then I'll usually come out there maybe, like, an hour later, and then that's when I can get the conversation. So you just kind of got to know your partner, and so I had to learn it. But, yeah.
So I think what you just said, I think that's what we see as nagging, because when we done had a long day at work, we stressed out, and as soon as we walk through the door, it's like we bombarded with everything. So I think that's what a nagging, what we might see as nagging, but really you just trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah. So that's probably where, in the men's perspective, we sometimes see it as nagging, because we just like, bro, we just came home, like, you telling me this going on, you want me to run to the stove. Well, you had to, I'll text you. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where it kind of comes into that, what you just said, and then a part of the delivery as well, because you already stimulated from like the day at work you done, so you're trying to come down from that high, and all of a sudden you come back, you come home, and then it's just like, all right, bro, come on now. I just walked through the door. Yeah.
It's definitely so and I agree with you. Right. Mm-hmm. I also feel like it's important if it's business and it's something that needs to be handled, and I could have said something to you before you left for work or 2 days ago, and it's still.
That's fair. I'm not debating that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
that's on me.
Yeah. So I'm just saying there's some times, you know, but there are times, you know, as wives we need to, that can wait. Hold on with that. But there's sometimes things are pressing and it needs to be like, come on, we need to talk about this. Yeah.
I would definitely say nagging would be like you asking me a question and I answer it, or I tell you, give me a second to think about it, and then I get back with you, but you ask me again before I get back with you. So I would definitely say.
How long? How long? How long? How long?
Like if I tell you I'm gonna get back with you, I ain't gonna. I mean, some people forget, but it could be the next day, it could be the next hour, it could be the next minute. But just give me a second, like, you know, give me some time, you know, like, and then like, for instance, you tell me, or if you just tell me to do something like, go fix the door in the room or whatever. So, and I tell you, okay, I'm gonna get to the door when I get to it. But you come at me again, like, go fix the door, and then I tell you, okay, I'm gonna fix the door when I have off time, you know, when I'm off or whatever, like. But then you come at me like my next day off, and I'm like, wait, I was gonna plan on doing it tomorrow, but you know what? You might have pushed that back to the next one because you came at me too soon. You know what I mean? But you ain't patient. You know, so that's to me. That's
what I mean.
Right. My question to you is that a pattern where she feels like she has to continually, you know, is it a pattern, or have you shown that when you take care of stuff, when you say you go take care of it?
Right. So with that situation is like me, I handle my business like, because even when we go back to the words, I'm kind of like selfish. So like, but I handle my own like on my own time. Like, so I don't really move. I try not to move on others' time. So especially when it's dealing with something that's not like, you know, priority. Exactly. So if it's something, if it's something in the house, if it's something in the house that's an emergency, so a pipe break, I'm finna get that done. I'm finna go ahead and handle that. We have an issue like where, like for instance, the tree was like hanging on our house and was scraping our house. You know, it took me some time to find the right tree man to do it, but you know, she kept asking me about it. But eventually, guess what? That tree got trimmed up. So it's just my timing, like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna make sure I do it on my timing because I feel like my timing is the right timing. You know? But that's just me though. I don't wanna make it like everybody can move like this. But and I think my wife have and I feel like my wife have a good understanding of that. Like, but sometimes I say we could be forgetful. Yeah. We could be forgetful, and then we go back to okay. Maybe I gotta ask him again because sometimes people don't they deal with other people, so they like, man, I had to keep begging her or co-workers or anything. I had to keep begging them until they actually did it, or I had to keep asking my boss this until he actually did it. But then you realize who you dealing with. You don't really have to keep asking him. You tell him once, he gonna remember, and then he gonna take care when he take care. So. But everybody don't do that though. Everybody don't do that. Sometimes you might have to move quick, fast.
I'm just the type of person that when I want stuff done, I get it done. I don't really waste time. I just, like, if it's a need that need to get done, I get it done, and I make sure that it get done. I don't really waste time. I try to find all my resources. I go Google and look up stuff. YouTube. That's how that's TikTok. Yeah, when the door was messed up, I figured out how to pull something out the door that was in the garage and put it on that on that door. Took me 3 minutes. Took somebody 2 hours and still didn't figure it out, right? So I just looked up a YouTube video. I think it's just that he don't want to do it. He don't think it's important. But I just be like, look, this a little better on the house. If you fix this, they be like, ain't nobody worried about it. What? That's just how I be. But he said I have a good understanding. I mean, I won't say I don't have a good understanding. I just be like, it's my partner. That's what he like. You mean, it is what it is. I didn't grow up like that. My daddy, he was like on the stuff, like fix, whatever need to be messed up, he fixed it. He got his whole tool cabinet, whatever messed up, he was on it. But that's like when we did our premarital counseling. That's why I honestly think premarital counseling is like important because you talk about the unrealistic expectations. Like we went over that stuff. Like my dad, he was the person to fix. His dad is a person to fix. But Dre like, well, I'm not no handyman. It's like, okay, that's the unrealistic on certain things. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, it just goes to showing your unrealistic expectations. Cause like when you growing up, maybe your dad was the one to take the trash out. I took the trash out growing up. Maybe your dad was the one, but you can't have an unrealistic expectation that my husband gonna take the trash out because my dad took the trash out. So you just, like y'all said, know your partner. And I love my partner. If it don't get done, it just don't get done.
YouTube.
So the first one, how do you feel you handle your imperfections individually?
It's hard for me. Yeah, I will say, I know when sometimes it's hard for me to admit that I need to work on something, and sometimes because of me being a therapist, and he'll say, don't put your therapist hat on. I'm not in therapy, so sometimes, but it is hard for me because I am a perfectionist. So oftentimes it's very difficult for me to admit my wrong or my role in whatever it is. So yeah, there.
I'll answer it for me too. I don't think it's hard for me to admit like when I'm wrong. I would say in a relationship though, I'm very open to like you calling out my flaws or whatever I did wrong. It's the approach, like how you do it and how you call me out, right? And so me handling my imperfections, I don't think I'm perfect. I don't think I'm, whatever, even because I'm a counselor too, but I'm open to correction. I'm open to, if somebody has an issue that they with me or whatever, I'm open to hear it. It's just the way you approach me with it.
I think I'm the same way as far as trying to like handle my imperfections. I think because I'm still teaching myself and learning daily, because I feel like we never stop growing and learning. So I think it's just about waking up every day and kind of giving yourself the grace to be open to learn. And I think that's how you continue to check off things that you're not perfect with, if that makes sense. Because you'll never be there's no such thing as a perfect person. But I feel like if you wake up every day and kind of chuck away at things, bit by bit, you can kind of tame them, if that makes sense, and try to get to close as perfection as possible. But what your perfection is, it might not be somebody else's. So you got to make sure that that's your perfection.
Again, I'm a creature of patterns. So say I done messed up on something, jot that down in my memory bank. So if that presents itself again, it's like, okay, well, this is what happened this time. So let me make sure that I'm, if I came off the wrong way, let me just sit back, breathe, and I'm gonna respond that way. So it's like you're trying to get better. So it's
How
like
do you keep that trait to keep something in your memory? Because I feel like I'm struggle with that.
Boy, listen, one thing about it, I don't know. Again, I feel like it's a gift, and I got receipts. I keep receipts. Like,
Do you all feel like men have a harder time admitting their imperfections?
not me.
I believe that.
I'll say
Not me.
I believe that men do have a harder time admitting their wrongs.
You gotta go through stuff to know like your imperfections. Like you gotta know, like you might not know all your imperfections, and once you get in a relationship with somebody, some of them imperfections might show up that you never knew about. So like it's all based on experience. Everything you go through, then you can go from there. Once you get to that point of, oh yeah, you done realize your imperfections in this relationship, or just in life in general, like how you said, when you realize you didn't have that anger, and then it blew up in the relationship, like that's when you realize you got that imperfection. Then that's when you realize you can deal with that. So I don't think you're gonna always know your imperfections until that experience or that time comes to where how you gonna react to this, or this situation happened, how are you gonna do that. But as far as dealing with your imperfections, I think counseling, you're going to talk to somebody and stuff like that. But other than that,
But
I think
is it pride that makes it hard for men to see it?
Like, and
I would say yes, because men, we're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be the leader. We don't supposed to cry. You're a boy, I mean, now, I'm sorry, you're a man. Even when, like when we have our sons, what we tell our sons, hey, you're a big boy, you don't cry. You'll be all right, man up, and they grow up constantly hearing that. Grow up constantly hearing that. So mentally, when they get older, it's like, I have to be a man. I have to stand up and, come on, Lo. So mentally, you have to grow up, and mentally you just have to be that strong person, and hey, I'm not about to show my weakness. That's one thing that I have, I never want you to feel like you got one up on me, and it's just something that I deal with, maybe it's just a challenge for myself to become better, but it is hard to just admit that,
But how do you turn that on and off though? Like, so, if you're like that with the public, how do you turn that off with your wife?
So I don't think it's an on and off switch. I think it's more so just like I know I'm in the public, so I'm gonna present myself this way, kind of thing. Yeah.
So then bleeds over. So my question would be, how do we undo the dysfunction of man up, don't cry? How do we undo that? Because to me, if God didn't give y'all tear duct, why? You know what I'm saying? We as I won't just say us as as black folks, because I've seen it in other places as well. But I'm just saying, how do we undo that? Because it really spills off in your life, in your relationship. It causes you not to be vulnerable. It causes you not to really just relate.
It brings a lot of stress to your organs.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of our men have heart attacks.
So to kind of answer that question, it kind of relates back to, how can I say this? When women don't want a soft man, correct? She want a man. She wants to feel secure, right? So, but that's just how men think. And I could be wrong. I'm just speaking for so naturally a man is gonna want to be masculine, and of course, especially since it's been ingrained our whole life. Okay, look, don't cry, man up. Like the women, that's the woman's role to be the nurturer, the one that kind of express the emotions and things like that. While men, sometimes we have a tendency to be numb and just like we come. I can't even say the word. Yeah. See, but there we go. See, thank you. So I feel like we keep our emotions in check, especially in a relationship, because, for instance, like I'm a victim of that. Sometimes like my pride is so high, she'll never see me like really cry unless it's something that's really like bothersome. But I do, like, I come down from that masculinity whenever I'm with her. Like, okay, like she bring that soft side out of me to where it's like I can love on her, like I'm nurturing to the kids to kind of get to the second question as well. But as far as like the general public, like I don't think it's something that you can undo, because it's just a man thing. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, yeah, which is sad, because again, like even on social media, like even like you see a lot of women nowadays, like I don't want a man that's X, Y, and Z, like, oh, he can't be soft, or he can't be pushover.
When they're in a relationship, in a marriage for years and years and years, and then they're dealing with someone that's not expressive or not,
then it becomes a problem.
being vulnerable.
Exactly.
Then that opens up a whole new Pandora's box.
Yeah. Go ahead, dog. My bad.
I mean, like, in the back of my head, I normally keep, what do I have to prove? Like, that's my main thing. Like, that would keep me from being so prideful and being macho man and stuff like that. Like, what do I have to prove? You know what I mean? And that just settles me. You know, that's just put a little bit on.
Yeah. So, man, I'm gonna say for me, growing up, athletic background, you're always taught, like, bro, to be tough. You know, your coaches tell you, man, have pride. You know, don't get beat. You know, don't show weakness. And I think that kind of led, you know, now that I got married, man, I got kids, I got 2 boys. I think that kind of bleeds over into them. So, because that's what I was taught. So that's why I teach, you know. But Zayden, hold on real quick. But Zayden honestly changed that perspective, because he's naturally just he's very gentle. So he changed, honestly, my son changed me, you know, because I'll tell him like, hey man, stop crying, man, you don't need to be crying. But he'd be like, but dad, like it made me feel, and I'm like, dang man, I gotta be the one to be like, you know what, son, I understand that, you know, this is how we gonna handle it, this is what we gonna do. And another big component was my wife, you know, so she's like, hey man, you gotta, you know, because Zayden is such a gentle kid, man, you gotta speak differently to him, you know, because I mean, while I'm at work, man, I'm probably cussing at somebody, I'm demanding somebody to do something, I'm just in that masculine role, you know, but when I come home, I can't be in that masculine role. And then another component is my daughter. Like, she softened me up So me and my wife, so me and my wife was talking the other day, and we was talking about, me growing up and, my granddad and all that kind of stuff. And then I start crying. So it's like, man, I think when you get older, I think it's like, you just start, man, I don't know, you get emotional and you start crying. That would never.
Go to church, you'll cry all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, just being around her, like you say, she made me soft. So she put that little soft, like, man, it's okay to cry. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, nah, no, it's not. Cause like, I'll talk to B like, nah, man. And I'll stop. Like, I'll be mid cry and then I'll just, but instead, like it'll help to get that out, man. But we don't understand that as young men. So 13-year-old Xavier, you would have never saw me cry. 20-year-old Xavier, you would have never saw me cry. But 33-year-old Xavier, with more wisdom, with more knowledge, with more life experience, you start expressing yourself in a different way.
Because that's crazy.
So,
imagine not crying for almost 10, 20 years. That's crazy.
Cold and all claw.
That's why a lot of young black men or they may have anger because it's like.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
When I first met him, he was always angry. Like he never.
I told that story already.
he never hit me or anything, but he was always fighting, and I never understood. This man is fighting all the time. We in college. I'm hearing about stories of him fighting. We done graduated, and I'm still hearing stories about him fighting. I'm like, why is this man so angry? What's wrong with him? Now he can cry. He can cry. He can express himself. He's the king of my castle. He's the head of my household. I'm a strong woman. He's a strong man. But he is, the epitome of what I feel like I want my children to know as a father, or my grandchildren to know as a grandfather. He can express himself in a different way now. Because not being able to express the anger, the frustration, the disappointment, all that built up, it messes with your organs. It's tearing our people, our men up. It's tearing them up. And so I'm very grateful that he learned, through the grace of God, how to express himself other than fighting.
And you don't look at him differently.
Oh no, I respect him even the more. I respect him even the more.
I think when I grew up in Chicago, I was always in survival mode because of the area that I grew up in. You always had to be one ahead, and so I always felt like before you get me, I'm going to get you. And so I was one that never let my guards down. But I think it's what we instill in our kids. If we tell our kids, don't cry, you shouldn't do this, then that's what they're going to grow up feeling that way. One of the young men that was a part of my program years and years ago, one of the things that, him and I had similar backgrounds. I had my first child when I was 18 years old. He had his daughter. He was 18 years old. So I was talking to him, I said, man, you just need a hug. He said, no, we don't do that. I don't do that. I said, what do you mean? My family, we don't hug. My father, no men in my family, we don't hug each other. And I'm like, whoa, you need to hug. I'm not going to hug none of my kids and different things like that. But that's the mentality that he had. His family instilled that in him, that this is how men do. Men don't hug men and different things like that. And so my mission was, before he left my program, he was going to give me a hug. But before he left the program, he was one that he looked up to me on the way out the door. Come here, man, give me a hug, man. But if no one ever teaches you that intimate part of yourself, you're going to always grow up thinking that you always have to be tough and different things like that. And my background, it was just like, you got to be one ahead of everybody. Don't let no one get the upper hand on you. But once I got older, I understood it don't have to be like that. And so it's then I began to teach my kids, this is what you need to do. And you don't have to You know, if you need to cry, man, cry. You know, I mean, sometimes you ain't crying because something wrong. Sometimes you crying just because you need to cry. You know, and so it's what we instill in our kids.
Just to piggyback off of what you said, I think there's a huge misconception of what women want in a man because, and I'll just speak for me, like how you mentioned like how women want like this tough guy. What attracts me is a man that could be vulnerable, a man that can cry, a man that can, if you just tough all the time, you have this hard exterior, like to me, that's not attractive to me. I know a lot, that maybe the young girls, you know, whatever, maybe that's, but a woman, a mature woman, we're not looking for that. Like we ain't in college at the parties no more, you know, where we want the hottest thug, you know, running around. Like to me, when I think of a real man, like in my mind, like that's a man that could, you know, be all of those things. That can be the tough man when he needs to be, can turn it off and be vulnerable and talk about his feelings and, you know, his emotions and whatnot or whatever, and can show that too, because like Xavier said, like with our son, like he don't just need to see me being open and vulnerable, like he needs to see that demonstration from his father as well. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you don't necessarily tell him or, you know, tell your kids, it don't come out of your mouth, you're teaching them with your behavior and what you demonstrate. So if you don't tell them, you know, men don't cry, they never saw you cry. So that communicates to them that men don't cry. My dad never cried, you know what I'm saying? And so I think we have to be careful, not just with what we say, but with how we show up, you know, in our families too. We have to be able to be vulnerable and let that wall down, you know, with y'all wives. My counselor, when I was in therapy, they were just saying the highlighted moments in your life is from 0 to 7. And in your marriages, when you can look at that, what was going on in your life between the ages 0 to 7. And then for me, I had talked about, I forgot what it was that I had said, but I was at that age, I was dealing with like my voice. I didn't have a voice. Like I saw different things going on in my household, but I didn't speak on them. And so in the marriage, it was showing up that way because I didn't want to make him upset or cause an argument, so I wouldn't say anything. And then all those things would just fester and build up. And then when I was ready to, you know, approach it, it was like, yeah, you know, I was already here because I just allowed all those things to build up and build up and build up, you know. And so I think it's good for us to really identify like that 0 to 7-year-old, like who's showing up today in your marriage. Is it your older self? Like, are you grown and mature? Or is this your 7-year-old talking now? You know what I'm saying? And then just identifying that. So
what happens when you don't have any knowledge about your 0 to 7? Like you don't.
Well, I think that'll take therapy because sometimes we bury things and we bury them so deep that we don't remember them, you know. But for me, therapy really opened my memory bank and really helped me to, oh yeah, that even my mom can, you know, attest to that. Like, oh yeah, that did happen to me. Oh dang, like that happened to me too. And that's why it's good to have a support system too. And that's why I'm glad you said what you said, because sometimes when people are talking about certain things, you can get triggered. It can trigger a memory, and you know, and then you can feel these different things in your body or whatnot, and you don't even know that, you know, that you are experiencing that, or you didn't think that you would experience that. So that's why I always encourage people to see a therapist, but also not just see a therapist, but to have a support system outside of therapy, because you never know, somebody can say something like, for y'all it was, hey, I'm gonna go play the game for a little bit, something so small, so small to me, I wouldn't pay attention to it, but because of that's your previous, you know, trauma, then you're triggered by that, you know what I'm saying? So having a support system and also, you know, seeing a therapist too.
And I think that's why I was heading that once I heard you say, I think like what it is just like the product of our environment too with men. And I think that's probably why too, because just like, again, like everybody that plays sports, that's what we was told. And then going back to my personal experience, just as far as like, again, like me being numb and me being isolated. So it's just like that kind of built me to like just having that point where it's just like I'm like I got a hard exterior, to where like I don't really open up just because it's like I'm just accustomed to being that way. So not even though I get what you're saying just as far as the females, because I 100% agree. But then on the aspect of like, just from my general perspective, like from playing sports, but also the fact of just coming like, again, like me coming from a single parent home where my parent wasn't always there. So I had to kind of figure everything out by myself. So it's just like,
on top of sports, raise
me.
Just on top of what society is portraying as well. So like, I mean, you look on social media, you got rappers shooting you saying you got to be tough, I got to be this, I got to be that, I got to have multiple women, I got to have, like, so you got all that on top of, like you said, with sports, it was like, shoot, you can get hurt, you have a concussion, coach like, hey, man, go back out there, man, you straight. How many figures I got up? Hey, get back out there. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey. So, you know, that's what you know, accustomed to, that's what you learn. But like you said, once you grow in spiritually, getting in your word and you just honoring what God is telling you to do, you got to be able to listen. You got to be able to have a clear mind to be able to hear. You know, and make sure you align yourself with the word and what God's saying. So that's definitely, I mean, nobody's perfect, but we going towards that. But that's why I say, strongly, get in your word and get around people that's, want to better themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because it's some people that still just okay with selling dope or whatever, being mediocre or this or that. So I'll just say stay clear from them, and just try to better yourself.